What's a fact that could save your life? You should still attempt to dial 911 in an emergency even if you have no bars of signal. There are protocols that allow your phone to bounce signals off any tower available, including military first responder ones and towers out on your network. In the event that you attempt to call 911, teach your kids that if they're ever separated from you to find any closest adult in emergencies, the likelihood of the next person you would walk up to being a pedophile are slim to none, but the odds increase dramatically waiting for the first person to approach a child alone. Baking soda will extinguish a fire. Even grease and electrical should always keep a box of it nearby when you're cooking and grilling. Don't pull a knife or anything else out of a puncture wound. The object may very well be keeping you from bleeding out. Only a medical professional should remove something stuck in you. If you fall through the ice ... the dark spot is the way out. Edit the sun reflects off the ice surface. The spot you entered has no ice or reflection, so will be dark ... opposite what we would naturally think. If you get lost in the wilderness, the best thing to do is to stay calm and stay put. Unless there is an immediate threat to your safety in the area, just sit down and wait for someone to come find you. Many people die or get seriously injured because they keep moving and search rescue can't catch up to them. Do not, I repeat, do not lay in the snow or walk home alone in the cold when you are far too drunk. I had a friend die from hypothermia and alcohol poisoning because she wanted to take a nap in the snow. Edit the typical, I did not expect this, but wow, it's crazy how many people have experienced this and had some close calls. I am so thankful for all of your lovely comments. She would be very happy that I mentioned this. If you can't find your kid in your house, don't search common places they would be. Search the most deadly places: pools, freezes, washing machines and dryers. Seconds count, and if they are hiding under the table for an extra minute, who cares? The rocks from a river absorb water. When rapidly heated, it causes the absorbed water to boil much quicker than steam can escape the rock. This buildup of steam causes the rock to explode, sending hot rock fragments. Don't use rocks from a river to make a fire pit. Signs of a stroke: drooping, arm weakness, speech slur. Time to go to the hospital. Edit, it's now be fast balance eye, sudden vision loss, or trouble seeing face, arm, speech. Time. Thanks multiple commenters. Speed of response makes the difference between sometimes ox a little funny when tired and bedbound lump. If you know old people, you need to know how to spot a stroke. If you get caught in a rip current, don't fight it. It won't pull you under. People die because they panic, fight it, and get tired and then drown. When you can, swim parallel to the shore out of the rip and then diagonally back to shore. Edit, I'm taking out the part about let it take you out, because people bring up a point below that you should start swimming parallel immediately. I just meant you shouldn't fight it and swim again straight back to shore. That's not going to end well. Stay safe out there, everyone. Choking is silent. If they're coughing, they're not actually choking. If someone goes silent and starts pointing to their neck, start the Heimlich maneuver. If your car is broken down, do not stand in front of it while waiting for help. I had a friend killed when another driver swerved and hit her vehicle, causing it to run over her. If someone breaks into your house at night, don't switch on the lights. You know your house better than they do. I live in Canada. This only applies to cold climates. They are not dead until they are warm and dead. There are many cases where somebody got stuck outside and froze, then doctor revived them. If someone comes at you with a weapon and tells you to go with them, never go to the second location. Trees. When there is heavy snow, there is something called a tree well that sometimes forms under trees, where if you fall in you will become impacted by snow, often upside down, and suffocate to death. My mom always taught me to count rows between your seat and the emergency exit. So if you can't see where you are going, you can feel where you are going. I'll never forget that. The symptoms of a heart attack are different. For a mole, check as soon as you can. Never put off going to the doctor if you think something is your doctor if they don't help you. Never give up. It's your life that is in danger, not theirs. Know the signs of sepsis. T. Temperature higher or lower. I. Infection. May have signs and symptoms of an infection. M. Mental decline. Confused. Sleepy. Difficult to rise. E. Extremely ill. Severe pain or discomfort. Shortness of breath. Sepsis kills within hours and kills 11 million people a year. That's 1 in 5 deaths, and it's the #1 death in hospitals. Those uncomfortable cancer tests when you get older, such as colonoscopies, aren't some kind of conspiracy to humiliate you or drain insurance money. Cancer is real and it can get you. This message brought to you by my uncle who ignored lung cancer until it reached stage 4 and killed him within a week of discovery. Elephants can outrun you. Elephants can outswim you. Elephants can throw objects at you. Elephants do not think you are cute. Elephants are very emotional. Elephants, remember, if your kid gets kidnapped, don't teach them to say help. Teach them to say something like, "Who the fuck are you? You're not my fucking dad. Fuck you." That's gonna turn a lot more heads and get you actual help a lot quicker. Let's say you or someone you're with needs emergency medical assistance and there's a crowd around you. Don't just say someone call 911 instead. Point at a random but specific person and demand they call 911. When you speak to everybody, there's a big chance everyone will assume everyone else will do it. If you are on a sidewalk getting robbed, someone is fucking with you, go into the street. Cars will just drive by usually even if they see someone in trouble. If you're in the street, you have a very small risk of being run over, and a much higher likelihood of the attacker simply not following you into the street or someone actually going to help you. Whenever you go somewhere new, auditorium, museum, concert, zoo, whatever, make note of the exits. I teach my kids this in case of a fire or earthquake. But truth is, I'm American and what I'm really worried about is an active shooter situation. CPR requires a flat surface. When Michael Jackson died, it was mentioned on the news that someone tries CPR with him on his bed. My mom said, "You're just pushing the mattress up and down." Removing the clip magazine from a handgun doesn't make it safe. One bullet can still be in the chamber. Getting a second or even third opinion. You know yourself better than they do. If you don't get answers, please keep looking. Please don't settle. If you live where the winter gets cold and you are traveling by car, always bring extra clothes. Have candles in the car. Try to always know where you are. X2OB. Always run from a street fight. No honor in winning and deadly if you lose. X2OB. Basic rule of 3: you can survive 3 minutes without breathing asphyxiation, blood loss, 3 hours without shelter in an extreme environment exposure, 3 days without water dehydration, 3 weeks without food starvation. Priority: if you're at the beach and the water recedes suddenly, run and get to the highest ground you can find. A tsunami is on the way. Inflammable does not mean non-flammable. It means it's something that could catch in fire that you don't want to catch on fire. Tank of CO2 non-flammable. Tank of propane flammable. Tank of oxygen inflammable. Bleach and ammonia should never be mixed. The fumes will kill you. Check the ingredients in the cleaning solutions so you know what it contains. When the forest goes quiet, you should too. There's a reason they're shutting the fuck up. A predator is nearby. Could be a bear, could be wolves, but you better GTFO. As soon as your car door is unlocked, relock it. People get back into their cars and fiddle with their wallet or whatever, all with their car doors unlocked, and it makes them an easy target. The best way to survive a fight is to avoid one at all cost. Once you're in two, survival matter more than morals. It's totally okay to be rude when being pestered by a stranger. Looking at you, fellow women, better rude than dead. Don't have water bottles on the floor of your car. They can roll under the brake pedal and you won't be able to stop. Eats in a car and the cars in front of you come to a sudden stop. You can always use the shoulder to slow down if need be. I know this might seem obvious, but I didn't realize it for quite some time. Also, when getting out of the shower or tub, I think it's always good to grab onto something. Once heard about a woman who died by cracking her head on the toilet after slipping when exiting the shower. Stay safe, y'all. To use a Napa pen, take off the cap and the white end. You press this end, put the orange end down on the thigh of whoever is having the reaction over the clothes. The needle is long. Stick your thumb on the other side and push down hard. Hold it for 10 seconds, then release. The epinephrine kicks their heart into high gear, so they'll shake and flash between hot and cold. They need to go to the hospital for observation. Also, the expiration date is written on the side. They're still safe to use if they're a year old. If you're in the hood and hear someone say, "I got something for your ass," wait right here. Do not wait right there. Leave immediately. If you are getting chased by bees, don't try to get underwater to escape them. The bees will simply wait for you to emerge from the water. Never pull out an object that is stuck in you, like a knife, fork, branch, pole, fence post, etc. It might be keeping you from bleeding out. I live in Minnesota. If you drive out onto a frozen lake, first roll down your windows and unbuckle your seatbelt. If you fall through the ice, you'll be able to swim out of the car through the open window. Electric doors or windows may not work underwater. Wearing the seatbelt in a car. I was a passenger, a car that was moving at 55 miles per hour along a very winding road. The car swerved off the road and hit a tree. Wearing the seatbelt saved my life. If you're about to get hit by a car as a pedestrian, best chance of surviving is to jump at the last moment. The impact itself isn't typically what kills you, it's getting crushed under the tires. How to do the Heimlich maneuver. I saved my mom's life. Came here to say that. Saw someone beat me to it, but it's worth repeating. If a concert hall, venue, or building has an emergency or fire, don't go to the front. There are back doors. You have a better chance. I watch a lot of Mr. Ballin. If you ever feel dizzy or tired after a short ride in your car, get your car checked, because there might be some exhaust leak leading into your cabin and might leak some harmful substances like CO. Know that what seems to be a pimple that won't heal could be cancer. From MD Anderson. Know that cancer symptoms may include a new spot on the skin, a changes in the size, shape, or color of an existing spot, a spot that is itchy or painful, a non-healing sore that bleeds or develops a crust, a red or skin-colored shiny bump on the top of the skin, a red rough or scaly spot that you can feel, a growth with a raised border and central crust or bleeding, a wart-like growth, a scar-like growth without a well-defined border. Be aware of your surroundings at all times, know where the exits are, etc. And remember, in case of a shooting in a public or workplace, run, can't run, hide, can't hide, fight back. Raising your girls to KNOW and understand that it's not their job to be polite, comfort, or even entertain men or really anyone who is making them uncomfortable. I can't tell you how much knowing this would have changed my life when I was a teen and in college. Know how many rows to the exit on an airplane. Know how to open the emergency exit. Read the seat back pamphlet. If you are in a submerged car, the air is being compressed. When you take that final breath before breaking the window, it's compressed air. It will expand as you rise. Exhale slightly while ascending so the express pressure has somewhere to go to leave your lungs. If a car is directly in front of you and changes lanes, place your foot over the brake. Especially if you cannot see in front of them, you should always assume traffic is stopped in front of them. There's a sudden lane merge, an object in the road, etc. My biggest pet peeve when driving are the people who change lanes to dodge a turning car in front of them. I call it the bait and switch and keep my eyes in my rear view when turning to get ready. Cyanide has a bitter, almond-esque scent taste. Not everyone can detect it from what I understand, but it's good to keep in mind, even if the issue never the bitter word. I was almost a year or getting my cancer diagnosed, and I pay the price for that every day in pain and very low energy because I will be on chemo forever. A reasonable diagnosis time, and I probably wouldn't be suffering as I am now. It is so crazy hard to get a diagnosis these days. It is heartbreaking actually. There is no such thing as a fair fight. Also, the loser of a knife fight dies in the streets. The winner dies in the hospital. If you're ever driving on slick roads and the rear end of your car begins to slide, turn your wheels to the direction that your car is skidding. Gently tap on the brakes to gradually slow the car down. Don't try to correct it. You'll just end up losing more control and probably end up crashing. You'll just have to wait until your car either corrects itself, stops on its own, or hits something once you've slowed down. If you are in a new city, knowing which areas are and aren't safe. Too many people wander into the wrong area and wind up not so great. It can be as simple as walking one street over. Listen to locals and do research. Goes for any city. Don't swim against a current, riptide, or try to swim to shore. It's really hard to swim against a current and usually ends up wasting your energy. Swim parallel to the shore until you break away from the current, then swim to shore. If you feel like your blood pressure drop and your left elbow starts throbbing in pain, you are likely experiencing a heart attack. Never travel wearing clothes made of artificial fibers like polyester or nylon, because in the case that there's a fire, it will melt onto your skin. Get yourself a set of travel clothes made of natural materials because they're more protective and breathable. Cotton, linen, wool, silk, etc. Pride and emotion are the enemy of the kids. Don't drive angry, distracted, road rage ready, etc. You're driving a 3-ton missile. Be level-headed. alert and chill. A sudden pain in between your shoulder blades that feels like getting hit with an axe, it's an aortic dissection. Get to a hospital fast. A sudden unbearable headache. It's called a thunderclap headache and it's usually caused by a bleed on the brain. Getting skinny poops is a sign of bowel cancer. Black par-like poo can be an internal bleed. Vomiting black coffee grounds is a sign of an internal bleed. Oral sex is the biggest cause of mouth, stomach, esophageal tongue cancer in men thanks to the HPV virus. If you ever have chest pain, jaw pain, and/or left arm pain that isn't going away no matter what you do, call 911. Do not drive yourself to the Don't even have a family member drive you. Call 911. An ambulance will alert the hospital in advance to prepare for your arrival. They can give you oxygen and medications and monitor your vital signs. They will not get lost on the way. They know right where the ER is. If you're having a heart attack, God forbid you go into a dangerous heart rhythm and die behind the wheel and crash into someone else. God forbid someone is driving you to the hospital and gets lost and wastes precious time. In the event of an emergency, like a fire, never exit the door you entered from. Everyone will run to the same door usually, the entrance, and the crush will kill you either on its own or by blocking you so you can't get out. Always flee out a different door than your entrance. If someone tries to force you into the trunk of a car, fight with everything you have. Worth getting shot, stabbed, etc. and maybe living versus likely not if you get in. Definitely not as urgent as other people's advice on here, but tetanus bacteria can only live in deoxygenated environments. If you step on a rusty nail, your first instinct would probably be to wrap it up, but this could cause the tetanus to thrive. Give your wound air to kill the bacteria. Carry pepper spray. Cans only last for about 10 seconds, so use the spray in about 2 to 3 second intervals. That way if your attacker turns or doesn't get hit well enough, you have more for multiple rounds. Try your best to determine which direction the wind is coming from. Spray is more of a cloud, and gel is more of a stream. You'll need better aim, but less likely to get yourself. Keep 3 or more. 1 in your car, 1 on your person, and 1 or more in your house. Buy new ones every year, and use the old ones to practice aiming with. In a legal sense, it's much easier to justify using pepper spray over a self-defense tool, a knife, or especially a gun. You can perform the Heimlich maneuver on yourself if you are alone. If you begin to choke, don't excuse yourself to the washroom. 40 of all choking deaths occur in washrooms. Calling 911 and tapping on the receiver will send help urgently to your location. If you are thinking of trying backcountry camping, 1. Learn how to make fire in wet conditions. 2. Check your gear before leaving. Make sure it works and isn't damaged. 3. Tack a first aid kit for fuck's sakes. Don't rely on old wives' tales to treat injuries. 4. Make sure someone knows where you will be and when you will be back. 5. You're not in a Disney cartoon. Don't try to make friends with animals. And it's illegal to feed wildlife. 6. Carry a GPS tracker on you. These are only for emergencies. Press a button and a message goes to local SR with GPS codes so they find you neglected 6 and got lost. Stop. Find a source of water, preferably flowing. Once you got a water source, make a shelter. Use pine moss or leaf litter at least 3 to stop the ground from soaking up you heat. Take 1 step away from your shelter and that's where you build your fire. Don't ration supplies. You need energy to build your shelter and get a fire going. Once you're out of food, those tasks should be complete, or at least the shelter should. Then you wait. You don't go setting traps or foraging for food. You just lie there and wait. You will burn less calories and your body can sustain itself for quite a while without food. The only time you have to save yourself is when there is no chance of help coming. Do not drive while on your phone. You could be driving the length of a football field in a minute. You may think you're a good driver, but just wait till you get in an accident because you're impatient as wanted to text your buddy. Don't wear jewelry in the ocean. Big fish think you look like bait. I wouldn't go swimming when there are no waves in the ocean. Big stuff is closer to shore on those days. Visibility is better under the water because you don't have waves churning the sand. It's also a little harder to see rip currents on those days. You're most likely to be killed by your partner or a family member. Don't stay in a relationship or home where you feel unsafe. Abuse always escalates. You can replace things, but you only have one life. Make an escape plan. Also, owning a gun statically makes you less safe, not safer. If you have a gun, Lock ammo and firearms up in separate places. Your kids know where you hide your guns and are always curious. No matter what you teach them, they will still experiment. Flu-like symptoms with no neck pain, probably flu or COVID. Flu-like symptoms with stiffs or neck, possibly meningitis. Empty that junk drawer of any 9V batteries and make sure they have caps on the ends, or put electrical tape over them. If they come into contact with any metal, they could start a fire. If you are being attacked by a dog, with no weaponry way to defend yourself, point 1, lean into the bite. Do not pull back, do not let them thrash. That is how you end up with serious injuries. To choke the dog, if you need to get an arm free first, aim for the eyes. Do not hit them in the mouth. Do not pull on ears, they will redirect the attack to that hand. Position your chokehold at the top of the neck, right under the chin, so the dog cannot continue biting you. Do not let go until it stops moving. Point 3, create a muzzle with whatever fabric you have, whether it be a shirt, sweater, pants, anything. You've most likely only knocked the dog out. Start from the bottom, and use the fabric to loop over the muzzle several times before tying it behind the dog's head. Do not tie it over the mouth, as it can be wiggled off. For put pressure on any serious wounds, hold the dog down, and call for help. You'll need to call both animal control and an ambulance. Call animal control first and, unless you are gravely injured, do not leave the dog until they have it in custody. You will feel bad about it. There is a chance the dog may die, but your safety is more important in this situation. The most important thing is to use proportional force. This is a last resort. If a puppy other tiny dog is attacking you, simply pick the dog up or kick it away. If it is a dog large enough to do substantial damage, like a bully breed or larger medium-large giant breeds, use what I've said here. The goal is your safety, not the death of a roaming aggressive dog. If you use disproportionate force, you run the risk of being sued by the dog's owners. Every heartbeat uses oxygen. If you are very ill or having trouble getting enough air, your racing heartbeat just makes it worse. Practice shallow breathing and even breathing when you exercise so that in an emergency your stress level doesn't end up suffocating you. And oral dams prevent STDs and pregnancy. Also consider the HPV vaccine to prevent HPV, which can be caught even with the use of condoms and oral dams. Smoke inhalation from fire is what kills people, not getting burned. Smoke rises, so go on your fours, get out. Of course, close the door behind you as you leave the room. With heavy rain, realize that hydroplaning occurs at speeds of 30 miles per hour or more. Instead of braking heavily, which will make you lose control, brake slightly, stop, brake slightly, stop. Or downshift. Most automatic cars can do this too. Anything is better than braking too hard while hydroplaning. Save everyone's life in the future. You don't need antibiotics for a cold. P.S. If you're not confirmed flu, then don't take Tamiflu. A paramedic told me this, so I hope it's true. EpiPens have enough for second dose. The issue being the needle retracts after the first dose. If you are ever desperate and the person you are helping needs a second dose, carefully break the cap where the needle retracts and stab again. Panic, assess the incident, then take decisive action to end the problem or extract yourself from it. Save your own life. Never go anywhere with anyone, even if at gunpoint. Location 2 is always worse for you than location 1. Fight, run, then end there. It's by for your best shot. Save someone else's life. If you see a drunk person blacked out or get knocked out, putting them in the recovery position can save their life. Bonus round. Not a life saved, but something few people seem to know. If someone faints, bring their knees up to their chest and press them down gently. This brings additional blood to the brain and will usually bring them back around quickly. If you encounter an object which says drop and run, or shows this symbol, do what it says. Drop it and fucking run immediately. If you do not, you will die or at least suffer severe symptoms of radiation, most likely a source of strong radiation, such as cobalt-60. And if you see this message, it means that its containment has been breached and it can emit radiation, and distance are the most important factors to minimize when exposed to radiation. Up as soon as possible and describe what happened, even if you don't feel any symptoms yet, and report your incident, as well as the location you found and left the item to local authorities, e.g. police or fire department, and, for all that is holy, do not bring the item with you. Do not waste time taking pictures of it either. Authorities will employ professionals who can locate the item, shield the radiation, and dispose of it properly. LD liable for the danger posed to the public or the expenses of containing it, unless you do that last one or are proven of intentionally dismantling or improperly disposing of radioactive apparatuses. Also, severe radiation sickness manifests in 3 phases. 1. Acute symptoms including headache, nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea. These occur within minutes or hours and may last a few days. 2. After that, one enters a latent phase where symptoms get weaker or may disappear. This may last weeks or even months. The duration decreases with increasing radiation dose. During this latent phase, the immune system starts suffering damage from radiation-induced mutations. In extreme cases, the latent stage may be absent, as bone marrow, where the majority of immune cells are created, is fully destroyed. 3. Such as diarrhea, hair loss, skin lesions, and necrosis in regions especially exposed to radiation, and, in extreme cases, ultimately multiple organ failure due to a full breakdown of the immune system. If this wasn't lethal already, lifetime risk of various cancers, especially leukemia, is. Please correct me if I'm wrong, as I do not want to give false information unintentionally. TPS, I may have worded it very alarmingly, but in this case, not expecting readers to be proficient in nuclear safety, I think it is better to be too serious rather than not serious enough. Even if you feel healthy, eat well, exercise, maintain a good weight, etc., get your yearly blood work done no matter your age. Many things can be caught early when doing routine blood tests.